add myself, and
good morning. Hello, everybody, and welcome to GreatX File Sync webinar. I'm Steve Marshall, and I'm joined by Rob Merriman, our technical lead. Today's session is going to last around 30 minutes, and we'll delve into some common industry challenges with data integration, and then we'll take a look at some of the use cases where GreatX customers have purchased File Sync. We'll then move on to a demo of the software, and if you've got any questions, you'll be able to add them to the live chat section of the platform, and we'll do our best to answer as many as we can today. Let's start with a slide some of you might be familiar with. This illustrates the sheer explosion of software designed to help our industry, and the lifeblood of all of these systems you can see here is your data. We all know that in any project, there's a proliferation of data types, design, financial, quality, company procedures, and the like. And each of these data sets tend to sit in separate locations, and that presents a challenge in terms of data integrity. To illustrate the issue, there are some worrying statistics from industry research which highlight the problems that exist caused by poor data integration and manual transfer of information between systems. For example, more than 50% of all the surveyed projects were delayed due to poor access to data. Over half of the respondents referenced a lack of real-time information as a barrier to decision-making. And a lack of data collaboration caused an average decrease of 20% in productivity across the projects surveyed. So knowing that these challenges exist, GreatX have a vision of connecting all of these data locations, making the underlying data easily accessible in the systems commonly used. GreatX have therefore invested as a leader in this field, creating our Data Connect solution line, which allows the automated movement of information between business systems. First to launch in this solution line was ERP Sync, and that's designed to allow contractors to use the cost management section of the construction cloud, the build module, in the field, and avoid the use of manual data transfer into their financial business systems. Fundamentally, it allows the automatic transfer of financial information between the construction cloud and your ERP system to support cost management tasks, instead of attempting to make the workforce access your ERP in the field. Secondly, we introduced File Sync this year in April, which currently connects several commonly used platforms, but it will be capable of connecting many more. And it's this that's going to be the focus of today's webinar. All of this is underpinned with our integration services team, who create solutions to address data bottlenecks or integrations which don't exist between business systems. So please don't hesitate to speak with us if that's of interest. File Sync is the perfect partner to the Autodesk Construction Cloud, and it performs four key functions, which can be summarized neatly into migrating data, data collaboration, the backup of data, and compliance. The first use case that we're going to look at is data migration. So let's imagine an organization that's purchased the Construction Cloud and has a significant amount of existing data which needs to be transferred from a Windows Server environment into ACC. More often than not, that transfer falls to an individual to perform manually, and it's time-consuming and error-prone. With File Sync, we can now automate that migration, saving loads of time and ensuring accuracy. The next use case of File Sync is for collaboration. Some organizations have not yet invested in unlimited licenses of the Construction Cloud, so there are some people in that organization who won't have access to it. So the question arises, how do you ensure that these non-ACC users can access key project information? Even today, communication is really fragmented and email still dominates. So when you combine that with the many other data locations which exist in a business, it becomes challenging to access relevant data easily. A great example is version control. If the wrong version is sent, it causes confusion. So how do we ensure that everybody is aligned and working to the same information? The short answer is by using file sync. Backup, or mirroring as it's sometimes referred to, forms a big proportion of the conversations that we're currently having around file sync. A couple of great questions to ask yourselves. Do you have a large amount of data in the construction cloud, but you're unable to take copies of large amounts of crucial information easily? Do you have any concerns over managing backups across a multitude of different data locations? Are you at all concerned about your cloud storage going down? This isn't unheard of. So in that scenario, how are your design engineers or project managers going to access their files and the latest information? Manual backups or processes introduce data loss concerns. How regularly do they actually happen? Do you know when it was last done? And have all the staff followed the correct process to ensure the required data is in the right location for easy access in the event of an outage? It is worth noting at this stage that what we're talking about right now is not a company-wide backup service, but it's a mirroring solution for the construction cloud. FileSync can also be used as a control mechanism for industry or company standards relating to the movement of data between different systems. When used as a way to ensure files and folders are moved to the correct locations, FileSync provides peace of mind that predefined standards relating to what was shared, where it was shared to, and when are being adhered to. This is all evidenced in reports which are generated after the process is complete and therefore provides an audit of all of those tasks. So we've covered off 4 key use cases of FileSync: migrating data from one system to another, as a way to improve internal or external collaboration, for backups or mirroring of data, and as a method to improve compliance either to industry or your company standards. And it's this is where FileSync comes into play as a quick and easy way to connect and authenticate the different storage systems we support. And you can see them here: the construction cloud, BIM 360, SharePoint, OneDrive, Windows, and Procore. You configure synchronization requirements. Is it hourly, daily? When does that happen? Overnight? And does FileSync does the heavy lifting by doing the synchronization for you, so you got peace of mind. Then, should the worst happen, you can continue to work efficiently without downtime. I'm going to hand over to Rob shortly for a technical dive into FileSync, but first let's recap the key point here. The value of FileSync is peace of mind that your data silos and ecosystems are robustly connected via automated processes which are really simple to set up. Servers, BIM 360, the construction cloud, OneDrive, SharePoint and Procore are all supported. And we're adding other locations to this list as we speak. So please let us know if you've got any other requirements which you can work on as a priority. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to my intro, and I'm going to hand over to my colleague Rob now so you can see how intuitive FileSync is to use.
Thank you, Stephen. So as Stephen said, my name's Rob Merriman. I'm the AEC Technical Lead here at Greytech. So we're going to do some couple of live demonstrations. So the first one is going to be our backup, or as Stephen said, some people call it mirroring. So this is where people will have their data in the construction cloud. Now, it's always good to have a backup of your data. So what we're going to do is we're going to look to create a mirroring for that peace of mind from our construction cloud to our Windows. So I have FileSync running here. Now we are going to go and set this up. So the first thing I need to do is set up what we call a connection. So it is a connection into a particular system. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to bring this connection over here. So what it will ask us is, what do we want to connect into? So we're going to connect into our construction cloud. I've got a couple of screens running here, so that is why I'm looking over here. I've got a couple of screens running. Everyone is seeing my second screen. So we're going to log into the construction cloud. And obviously FileSync needs a permission to go and access the data. So we need to give that permission. And then you can be a member of multiple hubs. Now, hubs are the area of the clouds that companies work in. Now, because of what we do here at Greytech, I do have access to quite a few different hubs and test hubs. So this is the hub I want to build the connection to today. I'm going to take my token and I'm going to bring it back to File Sync. And this is our connection created. So we're going to call this Greytech UK ACC Hub, because I have got access to a couple of different hubs. So that is our connection set. Now we need to go and make a project. So the project is going to be called ACC to Windows Mirror. What is our description? So it is going to be Mirror ACC to Windows. The company is going to be Greytech UK. Now, this whole project, are we going to schedule it? Now, I actually want it to run every single day. And I want it to run at, say, 11 o'clock at night. And then with FileSync as well, within our interface, we can set up email notification. So I can add additional people into this email notification. For now, I'm just going to keep it as myself. So that is the project. Now, a project can contain multiple syncs. I'm going to do it for one project today, but we could set up multiple syncs within the project, and then we can get the project to be scheduled, and that will run all of our syncs. So, and the sync is, where are we copying from? Sorry, where are we syncing from? Where are we syncing to? So you can see our connection is here. So we're going to connect into our ACC hub. Now on our Greytech UK one, because of obviously what we do when we're training and doing these webinars, we have lots of projects. So we do have a nice little filter here. We're going to sync the Kiln Away project. We're going to include subfolders, and you can see here on the interface, what do we want to sync? I want to sync everything, or do I only want to sync a particular file type, or do I want to exclude particular file types? So I will just to show you what we can do, I'm going to exclude text files. Now, where are we connecting to? So here you can see I'm connecting into Windows. We need to go and choose the folder, and I have, in my C drive, created a file sync backup. So again, what are we syncing across? And then you'll see here in the interface, what do we want? What are our copy options? Are we doing an incremental? Now, incremental will speed up our bandwidth when we are syncing. It will only look for modified or new files. And that's what we're going to set today. So for the name, we're going to call this Kiln Away. Apologies for the caps locks. So we have our connection done, we have our project set up, and remember, a project can contain multiple syncs. So if we are working across multiple ACC projects, we can set those up, and we have our sync set. Now, what I want to do here is I just want to bring up the Windows folder, and I'm also going to bring up the Construction Cloud project. So you can see here, my file sync backup is empty. In my Construction Cloud, we've got folders, we've got subfolders, we've got the projects. So what we're going to do, I am going to just ask it to create a source folder. So we're not going to wait here till 11 o'clock tonight, obviously. What I'm going to do is I am going to run the project. And then what we can see is on the very simple and intuitive user interface on the left-hand side here, I've got the activity. So you can see the project that it is running. We can then see the sync that it is running, and we can see what it's doing in here. So it is downloading the files from the Construction Cloud. And then if we minimize this, we can see immediately that we have everything being replicated in our Windows folder structure. If we come back to File Sync now, because I've got two screens, unfortunately my pop-ups come up on my the screen that the webinar interface is on. You do get a pop-up, so you don't have to sit here watching the activity. You will get a pop-up on bigger projects when the sync is complete. But we can see here what has finished. We can see the whole activity, and as Stephen mentioned, for the traceability, we can go into the logs and we can see exactly what projects have been run, what syncs have been run, and we have all of this information in here. I'm going to just clear out the activity. So that is the sync complete from our construction cloud down to my local drive. Now, what happens if someone adds in some extra files? So I'm just going to come into the documents here, and I'm going to come into change order templates, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add in a couple of files. And we will just wait for these to process. So these have been uploaded. So these are in the change order templates. I'm going to come back into File Sync. I'm going to come back to the project. And if we look at the sync settings, I have said do the incremental copy. So copy only things that have been modified or added. And we will just run the project again. We'll come to the activity, and you can see immediately in our activity, it's looking at every single file in here, and it's already finished. So the benefit of only doing what's been modified or what's new is it doesn't use all of our bandwidth. So that took a fraction of the time compared to the whole project. So, and you can see in the activity that items have been skipped, but you can see the ones that have been downloaded. So if we now go back to the Windows folder, there are our change order templates. Again, I will clear the log just so that you guys can see the activity on the different projects that we're doing. Again, I will come back to the ACC environment, and what we'll do is we will just come into the construction proposal, and within the construction cloud I will go into the edit mode, and I'm just going to put my details in there. We'll put my email address in there. Okay, and let me just make that full screen. We need to come back out of that. And just make sure that goes to V2. There we go, so it's V2. Let's just go back and double check we're viewing that. So it's now got my information in there. So again, what we want to do here is I want to run the project, which includes the sync. I could run the sync. Remember, a project can contain multiple syncs. So if we only wanted to run the one, we could just tell it to run one. We don't have to tell it to run all of them. And again, you can just see how quick that takes. And if we now come and have a look in our project files and our documents, if I bring my Word file over, we can see that that has reflected the changes that were made in the construction cloud. Now, yes, it was me that's doing it. Someone else on your project could have made that change. That is reflected automatically in Windows. I can see the questions coming in the webinar interface. Keep them coming through. Our solution line director, Gary, is also on this call, and he is doing a great job of answering the questions. So please, everyone, keep asking them. Okay, so again, let's clear the activity. So that is our mirroring. Now, the next thing we're going to look at, let me just bring my PowerPoint back up, is the collaboration. So again, very, very straightforward and very, very simple. We're going to look at where, let's say I've been invited as the CAD user, the Revit user, CAD manager into a project on the construction cloud. But not everyone within the business will have access to that project. So in this example, Stephen and Gary might not have access to the project, but so they can't see the files in the construction cloud. But internally within Greytech, we want to work on the project. So what we're going to do is we're going to use file sync to take the project from the construction cloud and then put it into our SharePoint. Now, I'm going to use the same Kilnaway project that we've just been looking at. So you can see the project here. And then within our Greytech SharePoint, I have a projects folder, and I've already set up a folder called Kilnaway. So again, we want to mimic this folder structure in here without me having to manually download and then drag and upload everything into SharePoint. So what we're going to do, we already have the connection to our construction cloud set up. I do have the SharePoint connection. That is one thing I've set up. So again, it's very, very straightforward and very intuitive. We need to create a project. So this is going to be ACC Docs to SharePoint. And the description will basically be the same. Company, again, is going to be Greytech UK. Now this time, I do want to schedule this, and I'm going to schedule it every day again because we do want to keep pulling down that information. And again, we'll get it to run at 11 o'clock. I actually want to override the email notifications. So because Stephen is part of this project and Stephen needs to know when the sync has been done, and I will get myself and Stephen to get the email notification for everything, we can set that up so that we are both aware of what's happening. And again, we've got the connection set up. We've got the project set up, and remember that project can contain multiple syncs. So we are going to come into here. Now, if we needed to do multiple projects, we can tell it to do multiple projects at the same time. Just because this is a live demonstration today, I know some of these projects have got many, many files in, so we're going to keep it to the Kilnaway one. We do want to include all subfolders. And then where are we going to? So we're going to our SharePoint. Now within Greytech, we have many, many different SharePoint locations. So we're going to come to Greytech UK. We're going to wait for it to connect into that. And we are looking for the projects folder. And for this particular Kilnaway one, project work, sorry, we want to sync to the Kilnaway folder. I don't need the source folder creating because I already have one. We do want to do incremental, and I do want it to do versioning as well. So we will give it a name so that when I come back in, just remember this is a individual sync. And this time we will run the sync rather than the project. So again, when we come to the activity, we've just got to wait for it to start the sync. And then you can see it working through the different steps within the sync. So it is checking the source destination in the construction cloud, and then it will start putting that information into, there we go, into our SharePoint. So again, if we bring up the the files in here and we bring up the SharePoint, might just have to refresh the page and just give it a second. It is, let's have a look, downloading and uploading. I'm in the office today, so it might take a second for that to update itself. We'll wait for the project to finish running, and then we'll look at the results in a second. Now, I am conscious that while live demoing, time is running away with me. So I can see that the questions have been coming in, and Gary's been doing an excellent job of answering those. Stephen, is there anything you would like to add just while we're waiting for the sync to finish?
No, it's good to see the engagement that we've got on that chat. Like Rob said, I would encourage people to pop in any questions that they've got. We'll try and answer as many of them as we can before the half hour is up. What we will probably do, it tends to happen this way in these webinars, is we'll probably get in contact with people afterwards if there are any further questions that we've not managed to answer. But yeah, please do keep those coming. Out of interest, sorry, Rob. Out of interest, does everybody want to just pop in the chat what cloud storage they are using, or indeed being asked to use externally? Just give us a good indication for the types of software that are in play here, so that we can compare and contrast against what we currently support.
So Brilliant. I've got SharePoint coming through. Thank you, Andrew. Sandy, I'll just answer your question because I've just seen that come in. So what if we have projects in 2 different BIM 360 accounts that need syncing? That is not a problem. We just need to go and set up the different connections. So I have our Greytech ACC, what we call our Greytech ACC hub, which is what we use in the UK. But we also have different hubs that we use across EMEA. So there is one that the team in France use. So I can just come in here, and I've got too many tabs open. Yeah, let me log in. But it's just a case of logging in, and doing the same process that I did right at the beginning and just choosing a different. So this is the one that they use in what we call EMEA in Europe. So I will take the public token, or if I allowed my pop-ups earlier on, I can then paste this in here and I can say, okay. And this is going to be ACC, I'll call it Greytech EMEA. So I have one connection to my UK hub, one connection to my EMEA hub. I've got now too many tabs open is the way with these technical webinars. I've got too many tabs open, but I think I am back and can see. Thank you everyone for confirming all of the places or connections, as we would call them, that you are all using to store and work on projects at the moment. I think that's very useful, especially to Gary and the FileSync team.
I'd also like to call out Gary Barley's comment. You've hit the nail on the head. There are so many common data environments at play here, and the key is how on earth do we keep on top of the information in all of them? It's not just the ones that are being used or you're being asked to use by your customers. It's storage areas in different parts of your business as well. But yeah, really good point, Gary. And yes, agreed, Gary. I think that's a very good point. We will try to get round to most of them. Unless there are any more questions, It is 11:30, so we're bang on time. I think, Rob, we should finish the webinar at this particular point, and we'll spend a bit of time just assessing all of those responses you put into the chat. I'll probably give you each a quick call just to talk through it all.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. One thing I will do for everyone, just before we do finish, I will just bring up onto the stream a couple of links. So if anyone does want to try file sync, what I can do is I can bring this up on the stream, and let me share this. There should be a little link that will pop up on the stream for everyone. There is a link to get a trial of file sync. So I'll just leave that there for the next 10 seconds or so. What I will do as well is I will put it in the chat, just in case people are on a mobile device and can't have access to it. And then I will also bring up a conversation point of our webpage for more information on file sync. So if there is anything that myself, Gary, and Stephen haven't covered today, I will just bring up another link to give you guys more information. But as Stephen has said, and as Gary has said in the chat, if you do have any questions or anything like that, please reach out to us. We will reach out to you after this session. And we at GreyTech are here to help with any questions that you have on file sync.
Brilliant.
Okay,
Thank you.
well, yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's session.